Welcome, welcome, welcome to the 30 days. We are already on day 11 of really thriving this holiday season. All right. Welcome, everybody. We are thriving this holiday season. Just some tools, tips, strategies. Today, we're actually going to be strategizing, but I want to give some people time to hop on. So, as we're hopping on today, we're going to be covering really how to be strategic, ending this year in sprint mode. And it's not compromising like family time or the holidays or anything like that. Like, I'm all about that. However, we want to make sure that this is a time that really makes or breaks somebody. They can use a holiday as an excuse as to why they did not leave this year accomplishing their targets, their goals, their dreams that they had originally set that they were going to do for 2022. The game is not over. If you look at each year as a season and how we end the season, this is the most critical time of the year just to see what you're made out of. Listen, I have 3 rules to business. Never let business compromise my peace of mind, my health, or my heart. I follow those to a T, but I also get massive shiznit done. And I love helping others get massive shiznit done as well. So today we are going to be very strategic. I see some really amazing people that I know on. Welcome, you guys. Thank you so much for being here. So for those of you that are meeting me for the first time, my name is Tanya Oliver, and I'm an executive coach for high-end achievers, entrepreneurs, or people that are really striving to operate at higher levels. I teach people how to become mentally, physically, and emotionally healthy and strong AF, hence putting this 30-day live stream together. And I'm just really excited to share as much content and information that's going to get you moving in a forward movement mindset, because that's really what thriving is about. Thriving is about just making progress. So if you're feeling stuck AF, like that's what thriving is. Thriving is just today, how can I be and make and show up better? How can I step into my full potential today of whatever that may be for your today? Because your today, depending on your circumstances or the positions you're in life or what's going on in your career or your family, is going to be a lot different than how it might have been like a year ago or a month ago, or where you're going to be, in 10 months from now, or where you're going to be exactly 1 year from today. And it's so critical that you keep a healthy mindset of like, what is my best self today? What is me being in my full potential and showing up as my most elite self based on what's going on in my life, like as that version of me today? And a big, amazing thing I want to share, you guys, I'm really proud of. My team worked really hard because of the message we've been getting, but we are only having 15 people in. We've got 9 slots open. We close the door on Friday. So if you want in private VIP coaching for a small group, TanyaColiver.com/holiday. I'll put that in the caption below. You guys could see the past post and you'll see it. So today we are talking all about strategizing. Okay. If you're thinking of yourself, and I love, love, love this analogy. So I'm writing a book. I can't share the title with you yet. I slipped a few times, but it's really about building the new. And it's about, if you think of yourself as an athlete in your career, okay, if you think of yourself as an athlete and you're an athlete and your career is a sport, and you chose the sport you wanted to play. So I chose a sport of human performance. I love knowing as much as I love to spend the day like researching and considering it like work, which I do. I've done my whole life anyway, of how can I become better? How can I expand this? How can I transition this into a strength? How can I delegate this out so that then we're a team and we maximize this? So if you're looking at yourself as an athlete and your career is your sport, what position do you want to play in your sport? How far do you want to take this sport? What level do you want to play at? And then understanding like, wait, there's an athlete before there's a career, and everything that I need to do and everything that I need to understand on how to operate at higher levels so that I can execute whatever sport I'm playing and be that MVP of that sport. So today we're strategizing and getting clear on a few things that could really be setting us back and blocking our blessings. These are also known as obstacles. And this whole theme of thriving is really about transitioning our obstacles into opportunities and our pain into power. So that's a whole theme around these 30 days of really what thriving is about. And one of the core obstacles are cravings. And so let's get clear on the cravings. And then I'm going to teach you 3 mental action steps today on how we can really audit this. At the end of the day, it's important if you really want to make progress. The days that I do this, I'm constantly moving forward. The days that I'm not or that I forget, I'm kind of stuck a little bit in a rut. And so let's get clear on this. There are several reasons why we get cravings. Okay. Sometimes you have to understand what your triggered emotions are. Those triggered emotions can really, really block our blessings if we don't have tools to help us like remove those obstacles or look at them as an opportunity. Okay, this is an opportunity. And how do I move around it? How do I remove it? How do I move under it? How do I pivot from it? So there's several reasons why we get them. And it's important to understand the triggered emotions that cause them when we're stressed, when we're under pressure, whether work or home or holidays coming up, expectations, and just focusing too much on the challenge or the obstacle versus the solution. Cravings can come from so many different things. I know for me, like I'm having to set how do I say this? I've been going out a lot for events. If you guys are seeing my stories, there's a lot of networking events. I was out the last 2 nights until midnight. One of them was until 2 or 3 in the morning. And I see that it's impacting my performance. So it's a message like, you're looking a little tired. Are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm like part of the extremist personality is like, you want to go full into everything that you're doing, which can sometimes also be a liability more so than an asset. And so if you audit it and be like, okay, I'm going to go out, but I know that it's going to be 10 p.m. It's going to be 9 p.m. It's going to be audited. And I broke my own rules, but that's just part of being human. And the biggest thing I was having a conversation with somebody is how quickly can you get back up and how quickly can you pivot when you have a fall or you are like, wow, like this is slowing me down. My energy is not at the peak of the peak. And when I was studying about addictions and how to overcome them, I heard one audio podcast and they were saying, if you're going to become addicted to anything, become addicted to your energy and the energetic state that you operate in. So when we have certain things that we're doing and we're going out or wherever we're sharing our time, because this is a big holiday season where there's going to be way more events, there's going to be more networking events, there's going to be so many things that are going to pull you that will impact how you're operating, which is going to pour into the way that you're functioning in your day. And if we think of our greatest asset of how we're generating in cash flow, the conversations that we're having, the businesses that we're operating and running, a lot of it comes back to how mentally sharp we are, the energy that we're showing up in, the mood that we're in, and then all of the little things. Like I did a post, we just posted it on like me coming home. That literally was real. So I thought it was even funny. I caught myself in the pantry. It's like midnight because everybody was eating cake. I'm like, I'm not eating cake. So I came home and then I started eating like a little mouse, like my chocolate. And then it impacted my sleep, which impacted my training, which impacted my work performance, which like it's like a little snowball effect. And so it's just understanding these cravings. It can be people, places, things, events, conversations that impact the energy and the way that we're operating in our day-to-day life. So if you're lacking sufficient sleep, which my sleep has been compromised, in understanding what are your non-negotiables that get you operating at higher levels, sleep isn't compromised, not drinking enough water, not eating on a food schedule or eating off of your food schedule will impact the way that you're functioning and operating. So if we're talking about strategizing, one of the best strategies you can have is being real with yourself and doing an audit at the end of the day, which I did this morning because, yesterday, yesterday didn't happen. But I did this morning. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to limit myself to 2 outings a week. And if I'm having an event, because the events are 3 days, and this is good because you guys are entrepreneurs. So if you're starting to get out there, do more networking or meetings and even Zoom calls, when you put your energy in one thing, it pulls from another. So it's so important to see, okay, what are my priorities? Last night, there was so many amazing conversations. I always say I'm going to be the first one to leave, and I'm always the last one because there's so many fascinating people. But we were having a conversation really all about energy. And these people are like elite underground, working with celebrities and like the masters in their craft, super successful from all over the world. It was just a beautiful event that one of my new friends had put on here in Miami. And we're just talking about energy and how critical it is with how they were able to really scale their businesses because of the state that they were operating in. And when a simple strategy of auditing, like, okay, how many outings are you going to do? How many Zoom calls are you going to book? Because those things are going to take away from your passion projects and from you actually moving things, which is the whole reason why we're having outings or meetings and conversations and even prioritizing our family. So what I was saying is, not only were we talking about that, but there was a few people that were mentioning the word sacrifice. In order to get to those heightened levels of success, there has to be sacrifice. And I chimed in, I said, well, do you believe it's sacrifice from your personal opinion of your experiences, or do you really believe it was priorities? How your priorities had shifted and therefore other things, because we can't do multiple things at the same time. You realize this is actually more important and this is more in alignment to where I'm trying to achieve and what I'm trying to hit and the numbers I'm trying to hit and the amount of money I want to hit and the people I want to be around, and like everything shifts. So the priorities shift and therefore those other things like work its way out. There's something that I'm not going to go there today because I'm going to stay more on topic, but I'm going to write it down that I want to talk to you guys about, which is you can't do multiple things at the same time, but that's called the law of substitution. I'll put that in here. So I'll talk about that another day because it's really important. Coming back to this, priorities versus sacrifices. When you are up leveling, your priorities are going to shift and therefore it's going to move you. So this is what thriving is. Thriving is making progress and it's a forward movement space, right? So it's a forward movement space and that's really what thriving is. In order to thrive, we really also have to understand our kryptonite. Our kryptonite are the things that can really hold us back. Maybe we talked about a few days ago, like everything's intertwining is a typical personality trait when it comes to overachievers or high-end achievers is people pleasing. And the opposite of people pleasing is setting healthy boundaries, not only with other people, but also with yourself. And I even see myself, my friends, like, hey, I need you to be here. I want you to be at this event and I want you to be here. And we want to, and people want to be around you. We're like, oh my gosh, like I'm going to compromise my sleep. I'm going to compromise this. I'm going to have this and this. I'm not going to get my non-negotiables are then going to be negotiated. So this comes back to really, which we're talking about today, is audit. The strategy of today is auditing your time, auditing your energy, auditing the way and the decisions that you're making in your day-to-day life. And so one way to do this is there's 3 mental action steps. And you guys, if you're loving these live streams, like every single day, like we are being strategic, we are delivering a certain topic, tell people what's up right now. And if there's something that I say that's like, boom, I just dropped some diamonds on you, go ahead and tag it on the bottom so people coming in later can see something that was like, wow, that was actually really good that she said that. And I want to put that out. It's actually going to be beneficial to you because when you reinstate something, you process it, absorb it, and you learn it 10 times faster. So if we love healthy speed, taking that message and rewriting it, because the way that we're taking subconscious into conscious awareness is you write it, you speak it, and you hear it. That's what I love about coaching. I love about teaching is I get to understand it a lot faster because I'm interpreting it and I'm sharing it with you guys. And then I get feedback because you're like, oh my God, that makes sense. And I'm like, okay, perfect. I got it. So that's why that's important. So make sure you rewrite what I say if I drop some diamonds on you, and let people know what's up and what we're talking about today, which is really about being strategic and auditing your time, auditing your energy, and auditing where you need to shift, make some shifts. So here we go, 3 mental action steps. You guys ready? Take note on these. This is really a plug and play. This is a plug and play you can apply to any area of life that needs to be audited. Acknowledge and recognize what's really going on. This pulls back into self-honesty. I had 3 conversations, whether it being text message, voice memo. That's really all I've done today. I've only had been on the phone with one person today, but text message and voice memo on this exact topic of, if you are having a conversation, an honest conversation with your higher self, with higher consciousness, from you operating as your most elite self, and you're talking to that person, because let's be real, if we understand that truth can only be recognized and never learned, and this is a whole journey and a process of trusting yourself, trusting your higher self, trusting the most elite version of yourself, asking and having that honest conversation of acknowledging and recognizing what's really going on, because you're going to know in your heart. And we talked about this in the very beginning of A Course in Miracles states, truth can only be recognized, it can never be learned. So where is truth recognized if there's a lot of chaos and distractions? The mind is based on programming, so we want to make sure that what we're programming, whether it being on a live stream like this one, which I'm grateful for your guys' energy and time, programming from a live stream, the mind, beliefs can shift and change because it's all based on programming. And then we give ourselves new experiences that can shape shift our programming and our beliefs. But this is recognizing the mind, and truth is recognizing the heart. That's why it's important to learn to become more emotionally available, and knowing that our vulnerability is our strength, and having these conversations so there's no more confliction of the mind. That inner conflict isn't so much of a conflict. You have more clarity. And if we know that clarity builds confidence, clarity is the momentum that allows our confidence to have that movement, which is, if we're coming back to thriving is a forward movement mindset. It's progress. So getting back to this, 3 steps, mental action steps: acknowledge and recognize what's really going on. I love, and I learned this from Dr. Joe Dispenza, is a daily auditing. And if we're creating new neuroplasticity in our brain, and we do an audit of we writing out our challenges and what happened, and just kind of looking at it and then playing it back like a movie, and seeing yourself act out in the way that had the desired outcome, because our outcome is really our consequence. And if consequences are either going to be desired or undesired, they're going to be in alignment or out of an alignment to what we want to achieve and the targets that we've set out to accomplish. And if we're keeping it more in a long game, but a short game of the year, and I think people set targets based on years because it's there's something you can do about it, there's a time frame, and let's see what we can maximize in that year, but really going all out and really giving your best, then it's important that we look at it on a day-to-day basis of how we could rewind it and what we would have done to make sure that we're in alignment to those targets. Gosh, there's so many avenues I can go on all these conversations. So I'm really trying to stay focused on this. So I have to have my notes. So then the second is getting curious on where things were off versus judging it. The reason why people block their blessings and why they say stuck AF, I've seen this a lot with my own behavior, and I've seen this a lot with other people that I coach that are very successful. When there is a stuck energy and a block, most of the time it's because we've created judgment around it and shame, which are very low energies to be operating in because they really block our blessings. But when we're curious of why we behaved a certain way or why we made a certain decision or why we didn't follow through with our commitments or what were the excuses we came up with, which comes to number one, if we're getting clear on it, which is the whole strategizing. So if we go down to the second and we become curious and we're really auditing our day and we're auditing our behavior and we're auditing the way that we make our decisions versus judging it, we can actually create a solution around it. And this is how we begin to create new neuroplasticity in our brain. So we get to shapeshift our circumstances and our situations. Is this making sense, you guys? Like, go ahead and give some hearts or give some thumbs up or, put a little comment in, because I'm dropping some really valuable information to you, but it doesn't mean anything if it doesn't make sense. And I can give more examples. I can give more stories, because this is really going to change your life. But if it's not making sense and you don't understand the way that I'm explaining it, then I'm not doing you a service. And then that means I'm not fulfilling my targets and my goals. Because this stuff is 1% content. And the biggest part of change and growth is the integration and the implementation. But what I've noticed is if you're receiving information that is too overwhelming, it doesn't make sense, you're not going to take action on it. And if we understand that creation and what we create, because everything is about what we're creating, is clear intention. So the more clear you are about something, you can have clarity. Remember, clarity builds momentum. Clarity is what builds confidence, or clarity pushes confidence, because then we become certain about what we're talking about. The second is an elevated emotion, feeling good about it, feeling confident about it, and then taking massive action. Nothing's going to come out of anything if you're not actually moving something. You can't create things. You can't create a business. You can't expand your bank account. You can't, everything is about those three things. It's a very simple equation, but it's not easy. So if there's anything that I say that you want more of an explanation or a story about, because we're going pretty deep right now, which my goal is to get to the core of things. I'm not here to fluff. I'm not here to sugarcoat things, but it's my intention to make sure that you understand these really deep concepts and that I'm able to make them as simple as possible for you to feel confident and capable to apply them to your day-to-day life. Today's strategy, for those of you that are hopping on late, is about we're about strategizing on a day-to-day audit. So if you're auditing the way that you're moving and how you're going about in your day, then in 3 ways: to acknowledge, to have that self-dialogue and just kind of have your quiet time. That night routine is so critical. And mine's been compromised the last probably 5 days, and I'm feeling an impact because of going out networking, conferences, events, and stuff like that. But that's now stopped. So acknowledge and recognize what's going on. Okay, what's impacting your energy? What's impacting your mood? What's impacting your mental sharpness? What's impacting your energy, like how quickly you're moving in your day? Getting curious on where it's coming from and what's throwing you off versus judging it. If you judge it, it's almost like if you say judgment, your body's going to feel like there's a stop. It's like a period mark, like a period. But when you're curious about it, curiosity opens up opportunities. Remember, the theme these 30 days is transitioning obstacles into opportunities and pain into power. When you judge something, you create a lot of guilt, shame, and negative emotions, which really break down and disconnect you from your self-trust, your self-worth, and the level of importance that you consider yourself as. And if you understand, like, your life, you are the most important person in your life. You are a priority because nothing else is going to be as successful as it could be without you pouring into yourself. I mentioned a little bit earlier the difference between sacrifice and priorities. And if you pour that back into self, A lot of people when building businesses sacrifice themselves to the point where they have no more to give. But when you prioritize yourself and you create some boundaries and some non-negotiables, everything else gets to receive the best of you versus what's left of you. So therefore, you are the greatest asset versus a liability, because there's only so much time you can keep running and moving in life without prioritizing yourself and your self-care, your mental care, your physical care, your emotional care, and your energy care. All right, like how the energy you're operating in, the frequency you're operating in. The higher level is super conscious versus the subconscious, but conscious awareness can only, when you're doing something like this, it allows you to kind of have a healthy timeout where you can shift the way that you're moving in your day, shift the way that you're moving in your life. And healthy speed is all about auditing on a day-to-day basis. So if you need to course correct, you course correct today, not tomorrow. And if we're talking about yesterday, 5 simple ways of building your willpower, one of them was transitioning tomorrow to today. That whole mindset of the moment you say, I'm going to do it tomorrow, you're like, okay, well, how can I get this done today? Or how can I take a piece of this and do it today? Because that's what builds up momentum. That's what builds up confidence. That's what builds up self-trust. And it's a big part of you also keeping your promises that you said you were going to do long after the emotion you said it in has left you, because that's what commitment is. And if you have a hard time committing to yourself, that expands into every other area of your life, because it really is true, whether you see it or not. How you do one thing is how you do everything. How you do one thing is how you do everything. Because I'm committed to myself, as an example, where I show up as much as possible. I might not be exactly on schedule, but I do eventually hit those non-negotiables. And if I don't, I know how to get back up really fast. And I think that's the biggest thing missing for a lot of people is when you fall, the ones that I feel that eventually become the 1%ers are the ones that know how to get back up and how to pivot as quickly as possible. As quickly as possible. How do I get back up and pivot as quickly as possible? So let me get into the third. The third is to seek out solutions. If you keep face planting, or if you keep auditing your day and you see yourself in this self-sabotaging pattern and cycle, hire a mentor, hire a coach, get in a mastermind program, be around people that are going to believe in you until you start to shift the way that you believe in yourself. It's so critical being around other people that you aspire to think like, to be like, to move like. All right. And so if for the questions, just ask the questions in here, because these go repost for people. But actually, I'll bring you up in 1 second. Let me just finish this real fast. I'm going to bring you up, Mohammed. So real quick recap is acknowledge and recognize what's going on. Get curious on where it's coming from versus judging it. And also seek out solutions. Position yourself in rooms and having conversations with people that are going to help you resolve something that you can't figure out, or maybe you don't trust yourself with because of the past experiences and the positions you've put yourself in. All right. So hopefully today that was really great. Let me actually get some people in the hot seat right now. So we'll do a little, you're not here anymore. Let's get, he's out. He was in, he was out. But if anyone who wants to hop on, let me know. We've got all these platforms live streaming. And yeah, that's what this is about. So hopefully you guys found a lot of value out of today, and this made a lot of sense. That's it for today. I want to keep it simple, on point. I don't want to overwhelm you guys, but I do at the same time. Remember, we have doors open for a small group of private coaching, and the doors are going to close on Friday. We start it on Saturday, so you can have more exclusive access to me and to other like-minded people that really want to thrive in their business, in their mindset, and of course, in their bank account. Right? If you want to elevate those 3 things and so much more, remember, we have this. If you go to www.tanyacoliver.com/holiday, this is going to be just so amazing. I'm really excited. We have a private VIP group, and that's really all for today. But I think the biggest thing is taking action. Take one thing that you received today and figure out, how can I integrate the conversation we had today so that I could, what is me actually auditing my day? Like, let me try. Let me, at the end of the day, write it down, audit it, and then go back and rewrite it the way that you would have handled it differently for the outcome that you most likely would desire. All right, you guys, that's it. Thank you so much for your time, your energy, and sharing your time with me. I will see you tomorrow at 12. We have the whole 30-day series. These videos are saved, so if you missed it or you came in late, you can always go back, watch the other videos, or watch from the beginning. Drop your comment below. Let me know the greatest thing that you took away from today. And I'll see you tomorrow at 12 p.m. Make sure you take advantage so you get this entire playbook plus a traveler book for you guys to have forever, for life. I don't know if I'm going to do this again next year, but it's here for now. So definitely take advantage and don't wait. Don't be sleeping on yourself. Waiting is definitely a way that you're going to handicap your success and the way that you move forward in life. I love you guys so much. In case nobody told you, I love you. You're amazing. You're doing great things just for showing up, just for trying. That's what it's about. You're doing it. You're not trying